So today, we're diving into something really fascinating: the intricate architecture of the female mind. We're going to use a kind of neurological map, one that's been built from a ton of neuroimaging and psychological research to unpack the key patterns that shape how women, on average, process the world. Ready? Let's get into it. Which brings us to the big question, right? What does this neurological map actually show us? How does the brain's wiring really influence the way it handles information, emotion, and social connection? This is where our journey begins. Okay, our first stop is a concept the source material calls the integrated brain. And we're going to zero in on this incredible structure that acts like a massive superhighway running right between the brain's logical and emotional hubs. Now, at the very heart of all this is the corpus callosum. Think of it as this huge bridge of nerve fibers. And what neuroimaging studies tell us is that in the female brain, this bridge is, on average, thicker and more dense. So what does that actually mean in practice? Well, it means there's a whole lot more traffic, or crosstalk, flowing between the two sides of the brain. The logical left hemisphere is in constant, super-fast communication with the emotional and intuitive right hemisphere. This creates this incredibly powerful and swift integration of analytical thought and gut feeling. And here's why this is so important. This high-speed connection helps explain a cognitive experience many people are familiar with, that ability to process the hard facts of a situation, while at the exact same time getting a gut feeling or sensing the unspoken emotional stuff or the real motive. It's logic and intuition working together, side by side, in real time.
All right, let's move on to the next major feature on our map, which the research calls the empathy engine. And I love this because it reframes empathy. It's not just about compassion. It's a highly sophisticated biological tool for gathering data about the social world.
So this engine is powered by something called the mirror neuron system, or MNS. These are the amazing brain cells that fire not just when we do something, but also when we see someone else do it. It's basically how our brain simulates when another person is feeling. And the research we're drawing from suggests this system is, on average, more active in the female brain. Now, what's really wild is how the source material describes the outcome of this. This heightened MNS activity can feel like you're getting a cognitive secret, a deep, intuitive peek into what someone is really feeling or intending, sometimes before they've even said a word. It's like empathy as a form of advanced social radar. And you know what? The data really seems to back this up. In large-scale studies on what's called theory of mind, which is basically the ability to understand what's going on in other people's heads, women, as a group, consistently tend to score higher. This lines up perfectly with the idea of a more active MNS giving a more detailed read of the social landscape.
Okay, next up on our tour, language and lived memory. This section gets into how the brain actually captures and recalls experiences, especially the ones that are just packed with social and emotional details.
A really central idea here is that for the female mind, language often acts as the main filing system for reality. Experiences, particularly social ones, get encoded, organized, and stored through a verbal lens. This is tied to something called verbal declarative memory. Research points to what's typically a higher density in the hippocampus and Broca's area, the brain's headquarters for memory and speech. What this means is that a memory isn't just a dry list of facts. Oh no, it's a rich, detailed file that contains the specific words that were used, the tone of voice, the whole emotional atmosphere, and even the intuitive feelings that came with it. And here's why that's so significant. It gives us a neurological reason for why details from past conversations, the exact phrasing someone used, a slight shift in their tone, can often be remembered with such stunning clarity. The memory isn't just of what happened, it's a multi-layered recording of exactly how it all went down. All right, let's move to our final architectural feature, the social survival instinct. This one connects modern social sensitivity to a really powerful, deep-seated evolutionary driver. To get this, we have to go way back. The core idea comes from evolutionary psychology. For our female ancestors, social harmony wasn't just a nice-to-have. It was a life-or-death survival strategy. Being part of the group meant protection and resources. Being cast out? That was, quite literally, a potential death sentence for you and your children. And that intense evolutionary pressure has left its mark on our wiring. The anterior cingulate cortex is often called the brain's social pain center. It's the part that lights up like a Christmas tree when we feel rejected or left out. And the research shows that this center can be incredibly sensitive, processing that social pain with an intensity that can actually feel like physical pain. And this leads to a really powerful reframing from the source material. It suggests that what sometimes gets dismissed as drama is often the brain's high alert system going off, a biological alarm bell trying to detect threats to social bonds and keep the group safe and cohesive.
So, after all that, let's take a step back and put all these pieces together on the table. How do these four big architectural features combine to give us the bigger picture, the full map?
Let's do a quick recap of our journey. First, we saw the integrated brain, with that superhighway connecting logic and emotion. Then, we explored the empathy engine, not just as a feeling, but as a social data-gathering tool. We looked at lived memory and how it gets encoded with all this rich, verbal, and contextual detail. And finally, we touched on the social survival instinct, where staying together literally means staying safe. So, when you put it all together, the crucial takeaway is this. The female mind's architecture appears to be, on average, a system that is deeply integrated and incredibly attuned to the social world. It's a cognitive framework that seems to be optimized for understanding others, for connection, and for maintaining those vital social bonds.
And all of that leaves us with one final, pretty big question to chew on. If this is the neurological map we start out with, how much of our individual journey is actually shaped by that biology, versus how much is shaped by the culture and the unique experiences we navigate every single day? Definitely something to think about.